Hi guys, it's the unknown simmer. I hope you're all having a great day. So this video is a little different to what I usually make. Unfortunately, I made a big mistake with my Sims game, but I feel like it could really help you guys to avoid making the same mistakes that I made. So I did lose my entire Sims 4 game, and I'm going to explain to you how that happened. So all my mods, all my CC literally gone. Obviously it's sad because I had been building like my folder for about 3 to 4 years. So yeah, it's a bit jarring. Obviously I'm not really mad that I have to start again. I'm more mad that I've lost like my valuable CC. Like I used to have so much clutter, and I used to have things from Patreon that I paid for example, all gone. Do you know what I mean? I probably won't ever be able to find it again. So I think that's the saddest part about it, but rebuilding it is not the end of the world. I'm going to give you guys a little backstory as well of how this happened and how you can avoid it. So basically I had been avoiding like updating my Sims game. So I got my laptop in March, and I think the updates requests started coming in shortly after I got my laptop. So I kept avoiding updating it from March until June basically, and every time I played the game I literally stayed in offline mode because I just didn't have no time to go through my mods folder and update the mods and all of that stuff. If you watched one of my videos, I think it was the overview for the Sims 4 game, I mentioned in that video that I didn't want to go online because I didn't want to update my game, but I eventually ended up updating it. My mods folder was a mess. Nothing was organized. I had like subfolders, but they were all over the place literally. So it was all a bit overwhelming, and I knew that it was going to take me a very long time to do. A couple of weeks ago, I subconsciously clicked the update button. It's like my hand moved before my brain even could think basically. So I even tried to restart my laptop to stop it from happening, but when the laptop turned back on, it was already updating. There was no way to stop it basically. I don't know if there is a way to stop it once that happens, but when I tried, there was literally no way to stop it. So I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna let it run. And I accepted it, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? And then I found out. I found out the worst that could happen, guys. So obviously after I updated it, I started playing my game with my cousin. And the first thing I noticed is that when I was placing certain objects into build mode, for example, beds or chairs or tables or whatnot, they would just disappear. So me and her was thinking, what's going on? Like the funds of the household will, the household funds will like be taken away, but the object would just not be there. It was like it was invisible or it vanished. I don't know. So that's the first thing I noticed. That was kind of a yellow flag. It wasn't really a red flag because I was like, do you know what? Because it wasn't everything that I was doing that. It was just some things. So I was just able to work around it and just use the things that worked, basically. So I knew I was going to have to sort that out at some point anyway, but it just wasn't the moment for me to do it, basically. Then I started getting these weird glitches in the game. So, for example, my loading screen would load. It would go to this page where it says resume or new game. I'll click on resume. It would load, and then it would just be stuck on the loading page. The plumb bob would be gone. It would just be the writing. I don't know if you have me on Twitter, but I actually posted a screenshot in there, and my game was stuck on this page. So that was another thing. That's when I think that's when the red flag started to come into play. So it did that, then I came off the game, came back on the game, it kept doing it. So I was like, do you know what? There's definitely something in my mods folder that's causing this. So I removed all my mods, and it was still doing it, guys. It was literally still doing it with no mods in the game. So at that point, I thought, oh my gosh, it's G-Shade, because I had recently re-downloaded G-Shade, and because I used to have G-Shade before and I deleted it, but I uninstalled it. When I uninstalled it, I didn't do it properly, apparently, according to ChatGPT. So there was like lingering files in the background, which messed up the new download, which I did. So when I did my new download recently, G-Shade wasn't working properly. When I was asking ChatGPT, what could be the reason for my game acting up, ChatGPT was telling me it's something to do with my graphics. So he told me to uninstall G-Shade again and to try again. And then I can't even remember the timeline because, guys, when I say everything happened, it happened within a couple of days, but it happened so quickly And there was so much going on that I can't even explain it in detail because I can't remember everything. So I know that I uninstalled G-Shade. At that point, I feel like it was already too late. ChatGPT was telling me to delete things out of my Sims game and all of that, which I was doing. And then it just wasn't fixing the issues, unfortunately. And then I thought, you know what? I had seen a TikTok video where the girl was using ChatGPT to clear her mods folder, and you just give a prompt to ChatGPT and he gives you a Python code, and then you just use the code to open some sort of application thing. So I did that, and then I thought that was all great. I thought everything was going amazing. It literally didn't work. It looked like it was working, but it didn't work. So then I gave up that day. I was like, do you know what? I give up. I took all my mods out and put them in batch by batch just to see what was going on. And then I used the prompt that ChatGPT made. So it was like a Python script that he automatically removes a batch and then replaces it with another batch. So the batch will just go into the mods folder, go into the Sims game. If it works perfectly, then that's fine. Then I'll go to the second batch. Then I kept doing that batch by batch by batch until I was on the 11th batch, and the pop-up thing that showed me what batch I was on disappeared. So it was meant to say it was on batch 11 out of 12, and then it just disappeared. So I was like, what the hell's going on? So I went to my mods folder. Guys, my whole mods folder was empty. Everything was gone. I was like, what? How did this happen? Was this ChatGPT or was this Sims? I don't understand what was going on. So then I went into my recycle bin. I had over maybe 2,000 to 3,000 files in my recycle bin. I know that sounds ridiculous, yeah, but I made a mistake somewhere. I can't bother to go into detail about that. But I had to delete loads of files basically, and I was gonna go back in my recycle bin to get some other stuff out. So I had some stuff in there that I was meant to recover. It was all gone, guys. There was literally 6 files in there. Nothing that I needed, nothing important, just nonsense. So all my important stuff was all gone. Everything was gone. Another thing I even forgot to mention, yeah, is that when I was in build mode, for example, and I came out of build mode, I wouldn't even be able to click on anything. For example, you have these pop-ups on your Sims game where you have, not pop-ups, sorry, where you have these things that the Sims whims and the buffs and the Sims actual picture at the bottom left of the screen. All of that was gone. There was nothing there. It was blank. The top right screen had obviously the icons there, but you couldn't click on anything. I couldn't even exit the game, guys. I had to restart my laptop to exit the game. Fast forward to the point where my mods have now disappeared out of my laptop, guys. At that point, yeah, I had a Sims backup folder for my mods, but because I didn't know what the issue was, and I had tried to do the batch thing and it wasn't really giving me any help, I had to reset my entire laptop because my laptop was now broken. My files were going missing. Nothing was working. I was literally in a panic state, so I ended up having to quickly go to my OneDrive and just move over all the files that were still there, that were still able to be moved. Thankfully, I was able to save 40 GBs out of my 80 GB. I'm very thankful. I'm so grateful that actually worked. And I know it's half of the folder, literally half of the folder, but it's something. So now I'm trying to rebuild my folder again, all of that. But even the mods that I had carried over, the 40 GB that I backed up, they're still acting strange. So now I'm like, do you know what? I need to just I need to do smaller batches, I think, when I go through it, and just literally get to the bottom of it and find out exactly what it is. I just need to give myself the time to do that. I feel like I was kind of rushing things. I was trying to get to the point where I could film my YouTube videos, I could share my CC folder, all of these different things I wanted to do. So that's why I was kind of rushing, and that's what caused all these issues. I feel like if I took my time and actually just did everything slowly and carefully, I could have probably avoided these issues. The thing is, I don't know exactly what caused the issue. It could have been the game updating and me having outdated mods. It could have been G-Shade, because I did read up an article, which I'm going to paste it here, that the G-Shade app isn't to be used. Basically, G-Shade should be avoided and you should use reshade where possible, basically. But I did see some people on Twitter that were saying that their G-Shade is fine and it's not like an issue. They don't think it's an issue with G-Shade. They think it's an issue with the actual Sims game. So God actually knows what happened, because that's what I'm saying, so many different factors happened. that it could have been anything. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what to avoid and what to not do to not make the same mistakes I made. The first thing I would recommend is getting a hard drive, because if you don't have a hard drive, your files are just saved onto your PC, which is not safe at all, because if something happens, they're gone. Like, you know how mine just went? That's exactly how yours will go, right? So get a hard drive. First step, if you're serious about your game, back up your folder. If you play The Sims often, you should be backing it up often as well. Me, on the other hand, I didn't take that. I didn't do that. So now I'm in this situation, and now I've learned a massive lesson. Back up your game, not just the mods. Back up the entire Sims game, your saves, your tray files, everything. I was lucky enough that I also backed up some tray files and some saves as well, but it wasn't my most recent. But it was good amount of stuff in there that I'm happy to work with, basically. But you don't want to be in that situation where you have nothing, everything's gone. So get a hard drive. Step 2, if you're going to use G-Shade or Reshade, be careful. Make sure that you know what you're doing. Make sure you look at tutorials. Make sure you read everything that's available to read, guys. Literally take your time with things. Don't rush things. Don't just download it and just put it in your game and not have a clue what you're doing, because that's another thing that I was doing as well. Yeah, just be very diligent when you're playing around with graphics with your Sims game. There's some apps that you should download, which I'd recommend, like the Sims 4 Tray Importer, the Sims 4 Mod Conflict Detector, the Detector, and there was another one, the Mods Manager, Sims 4 Mods Manager. Those 3 apps are amazing. Download them. They will help you get rid of like all the bad stuff that's in your game. Next tip is, if you're going to use ChatGPT, make sure you specify every single issue. Don't leave anything out, because when I was talking to ChatGPT, I realized that I wasn't actually specifying every single thing. I was just telling him my game's frozen, why is it frozen? But I didn't tell him my game's frozen, I recently updated it, I recently reinstalled G-Shade after uninstalling it. Just all these little things. So after I kept coming back to him with different things, he was giving me different things. And it's like, if I just told him everything in the first place, that probably maybe could have saved my game. But the ChatGPT obviously does not know what's happening behind the scenes in your game. He only knows what you're telling him. So be very specific with what you're telling them. I don't know if your ChatGPT is a he or she, but whatever you're telling your ChatGPT, be specific with it. Another tip is, if you're going to use a backup folder that you have from like a historic one, like for example my backup folder that I had when I bought my new laptop, that folder I had been building, like I said, for I think 3 or 4 years. I don't even know. Yeah. Definitely older than 3 years. So obviously that's enough to tell me and tell you that folder is 99% out of date. You need to go through that folder and make sure everything's perfectly running before you actually put all of them in your game. So that's what I would recommend you guys to do. If you're going to put old mods in your game on old CC, like just double check that they actually work. Another thing I'd say as well is, when you're going to update your game, make sure you remove your mods folder out of your game first and then batch it through. When I say batch it through, I mean take bit by bit of the folder and put it back in bit by bit till you're sure that it actually works. Don't just put everything back in one go. With the Sims game, what I noticed is that you really need to take time with it. You can't rush things, because that's when mistakes happen, and the mistakes can be detrimental. So make sure you just take your time, especially when updates happen. But I think that's all the tips I can give you guys. Just don't do what I did. Learn from me to avoid going through the same heartache, because it was so heartbreaking that my heart was actually aching. But I can't give up. You never give up, guys. Never give up. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to bounce back from this. Yeah, so that's what you have to do. I really hope this video has helped you guys. I've also noticed that there's a few other people who are going through the same thing. I'm so sorry that you guys are going through this. It's such a heartbreaking thing, literally. Anyone that watches my content, just to let you know, there may be a delay in content because obviously the circumstance. I'm going to try my hardest to get stuff out as soon as possible and get stuff out that you guys will enjoy. But just bear with me, obviously, because it's not going to be a quick thing, unfortunately. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for sticking around and watching my video. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped someone out there. If you could give it a like, leave a comment, maybe even comment what you do to when you update your game, or what you think about everything I've just said. Is there anything you think about it? Anything you want to pitch in? Anything that could help someone else? Anything that I missed out? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, subscribe, like, show some support. And I appreciate you guys as always. I always have to say this because I really do. But I'll see you guys on my next video. All right, bye.